Hello, Shane's Brain here, and today's topic is Aphantasia and Beyond. If you are new here, this is Shane's Brain, an interesting place where the contents of my brain are finally allowed to be experienced by the world. I post every Wednesday of every week, so please subscribe and ring that bell. What is aphantasia? Aphantasia is a mental condition characterized by an inability to voluntarily visualize mental imagery. Many people with aphantasia also report an inability to recall sounds, smells, or sensations of touch. In this 5-part series, I delve deep into this subject by interviewing 14 different people about what they experience in their mind's eye. And the results are absolutely amazing. I have aphantasia. In simple terms, I cannot picture things in my mind. I also cannot hear sounds or experience other senses in my mind. I first discovered that I was having a different experience in my mind than some other people when I was in college. I was in a class and the teacher was having us do a visualization and memorization exercise. He told us to close our eyes, and then he had us visualize different things and try to memorize different things. And like always, I had some vague thoughts about what these things might look like, but I didn't see anything. I didn't see pictures. I just saw darkness. At one point I opened my eyes and I looked at the kid next to me, and just by the look on his face, it seemed to me like he was having a different experience than me, that maybe he was actually seeing these things in his mind. So after class, I asked him, I said, hey, when we were doing that, were you actually seeing pictures in your mind? Could you actually see the things, like looking at a picture? And he said, oh yeah, I could see it all very clearly and vividly. I was like, what? I didn't know people could do that. It fascinated me, and I began asking everyone I knew about it. And here we are over 20 years later, and I am still asking people about what they experience in their minds. Back when I discovered this phenomenon, there was very little information about it, and at that point had not even been given a name. That didn't happen until 2015, and though it has begun to be discussed and studied more in the last 5 to 10 years, research on the condition is still scarce. So I am excited to add my research and my findings to this fascinating subject. Like I said before, I have been talking about this with people ever since I discovered it over 20 years ago, and it still fascinates me. One of the most interesting things that I've found is that whether you have aphantasia or not, the differences in how each of our minds work are profound and completely unique. Before I learned about this, I had no idea that others were having different experiences in their mind than I was. And most people react the same way. When people first learn about this, they're always shocked and surprised by it. We all tend to think that we're all the same, but nothing could be further from the truth. The way each of our minds works is as unique as our fingerprints, and that is what we're going to discuss and explore in this 5-part series. I developed a series of questions, and I interviewed several of my family and friends on the subject, including myself. These questions were designed to try and pull out as much information as I could about what people are experiencing in their minds. By the end of this process, I realized that it is not a perfect set of questions, but it's a start. One of the obstacles is the words themselves. We all use the same words: visualize, picture, see. But in reality, we are all experiencing something different. So it's hard to describe. It's hard to differentiate between the different experiences that we are having in our minds. The words get in the way. I think this is why this subject is so underexplored. We all use the same words, so we all assume that we are experiencing the same things. But you will see in this video that despite the difficulty of explaining what we are experiencing in our minds, the different perspectives and descriptions are intriguing and enlightening. Let's get started. The first thing I did with each of my volunteers was ask them the red square question. I asked them to close their eyes and picture a red square. Then I asked them to open their eyes, look at this chart, and tell me which number best represents what they saw in their mind's eye. So let's meet each of our volunteers and see where they ranked on this chart. This test, although very interesting in its own right, barely scratches the surface. As we delve deeper, you will see that the differences go way beyond a simple conclusion of whether someone can picture things in their mind or not. It's way more complex and fascinating than just that. I stumbled onto many details that I was not expecting. The brain is a miraculous and a mysterious thing, and you simply cannot put anything about it in any sort of a box. Picture a sheep in your mind. Is it like looking at a picture, or more of just a thought, or something else?
It's like looking at a picture.
Kind of a cartoonish sheep is the first thing that came to mind.
It's a picture. It's one of those cartoon sheep.
It's just a thought.
No, it's like looking at a picture.
It's a thought.
It's just a thought. I don't see a picture.
It's more of a looking out the window at a sheep in the field and backyard.
It's a picture. Yeah.
To me, it's kind of a thought. It's an amalgamation, I guess, of pictures. And my daughter's obsessed with sheep, so she's always drawing sheep and has stuffed animal sheep. And so I think it's not a picture I'm recalling as much as something I'm creating in my mind.
I was going to say it looked like a cartoon to me. The sheep that I pictured looked like a cartoon, so
It's barely even a thought. It's a thought.
Well, it's more of a picture, kind of a video-ish, like it's more, I don't know, 3D. It moves around if I want it to.
It's a thought. It's a complete thought. I have the thought of a sheep.
Is the image more clear with your eyes closed or your eyes open?
Probably equal.
usually with my eyes closed.
No difference.
Eyes closed.
Close.
There's no image.
It's easier to do it with my eyes closed.
With my eyes closed, I can see it more clearly. There's less distractions.
Probably open.
I'm eyes open. Yeah, I'm having trouble picturing a sheep with my eyes closed.
I can't see it either way.
Both the same. There's nothing. It's just the thought of it.
Yeah, it's better with my eyes closed. I could see an outline of a sheep, maybe. I mean, it was an animal, probably a sheep, but it was just the outline.
Oh, I closed my eyes. You didn't tell me to, but I closed my eyes just to block out the world. But I can probably, I can picture the sheep when I have my eyes open. Way more distracting though, because there's a lot more incoming data, and I want to block that out if I want to see my sheep.
Do you see the sheep in your mind, or is it projected out in front of you?
Out in front of me.
In my mind.
In my mind.
In my mind.
It was in here.
I'd have to say it's more in my mind.
It's inside my mind, I would say. It's more like the concept of a sheep than an actual sheep object.
I don't see anything.
It's projected. I would say it's projected out in front of me. That when I close my eyes, I can see it touch its wool, I guess. Not really that I'm tactily feeling it, but it's like a virtual reality goggle.
Kind of like a silhouette-ish kind of thing. Like I can see through it. Like it's kind of here somewhere in my mind.
Is it in color or black and white?
Black and white.
Color.
Color.
Neither.
Neither.
Color.
It's non-existent.
I would say it's in color, but it's muted tones, muted color. It's not bright. It's always, toned down as if it's a transparency, not necessarily an image.
So like it appeared like there's lots of color and then it just fades out, so it becomes like a super like dull green. I picture it like on a hill, a grass hill. It's like the grass becomes like a very dull green and it loses pretty much all detail. I still know it's a sheep because I initially saw it as a sheep, but after that it just becomes like blurs of sheepish shape.
Is it 2D or 3D?
2D.
3D.
It's 3D.
2D.
Neither.
Nothing. 2D. Or no, 3D. Yeah.
3D.
Is there a 0D?
Probably, I'd say it's 2D. But I guess I could. I don't know. I hadn't thought about. Yeah, I can look at the front of the sheep versus the side of the sheep. I guess he is 3D.
Is it isolated or is there a background?
No, it's by itself.
It was just the sheep.
There's background.
It was just the sheep on a black background.
Nothing.
I saw the sheep and then I saw the like a grass field kind of behind it.
It was just like on a black background, kind of like a blank background.
There was a background. I could even tell you the address. Literally, when you told me to think of a sheep, I pictured it at a certain place where he's got some.
Well, now there's a background. It's like a meadow with little flowers like dandelions and stuff, and there's some trees now. Oh, and there's the sky. Well, when you mentioned the background, it made me think of a background, and it made me think of where a sheep normally is, and so I just put it there. Just as I thought more about what background it would be, more details popped up.
Can you put a birthday hat on the sheep?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Sure.
Yeah. I can't get the sheep back. So no.
Oh yeah. It looks great.
If you get it to hold still long enough. Yes, I can.
Yep. That's ridiculous, but yes.
Yeah. Pointed? Yes.
No. I could think about a birthday hat on a sheep. That's as far as I could go.
What does a birthday hat even look like? Oh, okay. So one of the pointy hats. Yeah. So I could put a concept of a pointy hat on his head.
I have the imagery in my head. I know what it would look like, but as for an image, there is no image. But it would look like this, and I can describe it in words, but there is no picture. So I could say, oh, I know what a sheep would look like with a hat on, but I can't see anything.
Can you make it run?
No.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they kind of bound, not really run, but sure.
Yeah. It's running goofy like a cartoon though.
No, not even a little.
If it made a bleeding sound, could you hear it in your mind?
No.
No.
No? Can people do that too? They can hear sounds too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I can take an audio track and add it if I wanted to.
Yeah. Well, kind of. That's an interesting way to say it. Can I hear it? No, I don't think I did. It was more like I was trying to make it do that. But I don't think I heard it the same way. I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, not physically, obviously, but yeah, I can imagine what do you call it? Bleak bat.
I can almost hear it. Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's my mind saying it or like I'm like, in my head, I say, a sheep says, bah. And I can like, but like, I guess I can't hear it, but that is more real to me than the image of a sheep. That is more defined than the image. I mean, and I'm really on the edge of whether it is a sound or if it's still that I know what a sheep says and a sheep says bah. That's probably where I'm at. But I mean, so yeah, I think I can almost hear it. It's definitely more of a solid answer, more of a solid like, oh, I feel better about saying I can hear the sheep than I can say I can see the sheep.
Now picture a cup on a table that you accidentally knock over. What type of cup was it?
Coffee cup.
Plastic cup.
It's this pink plastic cup we have.
My head went instantly to a mug.
A plastic cup.
It was a red Solo cup.
It's one of those little cups that you use in the bathroom to take your medicine.
I was thinking about a kid's cup, like a little plastic cup.
It was a glass, probably 6-7 inches tall, with milk in it.
Actually, the cup kind of changed midway because I wasn't sure. I mean, you started filling all these details verbally, so I had to say, "Oh, we're being specific." It started out as a little plastic cup, then it turned into a glass. It also went through a mug phase, like superposition of all three kinds of cups.
I guess a plastic cup. I didn't get that far.
What color was it?
Red.
There was no color.
There's no color to it.
White with a blue rim.
There wasn't a color. I can think about what color it could be if I needed to.
What type of table was it?
Kitchen table.
I got no details on the table.
It was a wooden one.
It was round.
Square ish.
I don't know what type. It had a picnic tablecloth on it.
Kitchen table. Hardwood.
It was my table. It was a dining table, dark brown with a brown table cover thing on it.
There was a table. It was just a cup.
I didn't see it. I saw a surface. I mean, there was a surface. My brain did not define a specific table. It was more of a surface.
It reminds me of our dining room table. I guess I envisioned the dining room table and wooden table. My wife is yelling at me for spilling on her lovely table.
Well, it was actually a dresser. It wasn't really a table. And it, I don't mean to break the rules or anything, but because there's a dresser next to me and there was a white cup on it a few days ago. So all I had to do to complete the image was it knocking over. So I already had this in my head. It's not like I invented a scene. You say something and I go to the last time I remember seeing that. Do you know what I mean? I know what a red square looks like. So that's why I picked, and that's why it's easy to picture a red square or a sheep or a cup. I can't conjure up things, like invent things that don't exist in my head.
How did you knock the cup over?
Reaching for something.
It just tipped.
It just happened.
With my elbow.
I hit it with my hand.
Just mentally, I guess. I didn't actually hit it. I just knocked over.
Just with my hand.
I turned and brushed up against it and it fell over.
Really getting no detail. Just a very vague thought of it tipping over. No detail of how it did such a thing.
When you knocked the cup over, did anything spill out of it?
Yes. Liquid.
Milk.
Water.
Hot chocolate.
A little bit of water.
Yes, milk. Yeah, it was basically the one scene from SpongeBob where Patrick says the inner machinations of my mind are an enigma, and then there's like the milk on the the picnic table and it tips over. Yeah, it was almost the exact same except for it was a red Solo cup instead of a carton of milk.
No, I would have to try and think of that happening. But again, it's extremely vague.
I did not see that or no. If you didn't say anything was in the cup, I didn't put anything in the cup. There you go.
So I mean, I thought of all those things, right? I had ideas. Okay, it's on my kitchen table at home. There's one of the kids' cups there. I knocked it over with my hand. I just backhanded it, and water was in it. I thought of those things. I didn't see any of those things, but that's how So I don't know how to answer the question because I did think of those things.
Did this mental image also have sound? Did you hear it in your mind?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No. It's harder for me to add sound. I've never done this. I've never thought about this in my life, but
No. I'm much more of a visual person anyway, so the sounds are kind of an optional. Do you want to turn sound on or sound off?
Well, now I can. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't when you said that, but now that you say that, I can picture the sound or imagine the sound or whatever.
No sound. I don't hear any sounds in my mind at all, ever.
Yeah, it kind of clunked along when it hit the floor.
Yes. I heard the cup hitting the ground and smashing.
Yeah, the sound of the cup or glass hitting the wood and the splosh of milk leaving.
All right, that's the end of part 1. Go ahead and click on this link to continue on to part 2, where we delve even deeper into visualization and also explore some of the other senses. You can find links to all 5 parts of the series in the description below.